about an hour to spend together. We're going to do the Spanish lesson, see how that goes, and then we'll talk about next steps after that.
Okay, sounds good.
So this is our very first level of Spanish. I'm basically preparing you to have very basic, simple conversations with people, whether that be at work, in your community, or during your travels in the Spanish-speaking world. This course can take anywhere from 1 to 3 months to get through, depending on your pace of study. I prefer to do it intensively, where we meet every single day. So we'll talk more about that at the end. But basically what we're going to do is teach you how to properly introduce yourself to Spanish speakers, how to make small talk, and then of course the survival skills you would need ordering food at restaurants, buying things from a convenience store, that sort of thing. And I'm very big on teaching the cultural differences as well. In today's lesson, we're going to learn a solid way how to introduce ourselves to people. So I'll teach you the greetings and then the culture behind the greetings. It's a little bit different in Spanish-speaking countries. We'll talk about cognates to help you build your confidence a little bit. We'll go over the 5 vowel sounds in Spanish pronunciation, numbers up to 10, and then vocab that most of my students can use at both work and at school. Here's my contact information, Sky. I don't know if you can take a screenshot of it, but for sure, write down my email address and my phone number so that you know how to get in touch with me. This is my direct cell phone number, so it's a different number than the one you've been using to text me so far. Okay. And then my email address. So if you do decide to sign up with me, you just know how to reschedule or cancel a class, or let me know if you're late or something like that. And then I always invite my students to connect with me on social media too. So I'm on Facebook and LinkedIn there for you.
Okay. Cool. Got it. Thank you.
Okay. Un poco de mi experiencia. So a little bit about my experience. Yo soy de los Estados Unidos. So like you, I'm also from the United States, and I learned Spanish as an adult. Yo viví en España, Argentina, Chile, y Ecuador para hacerlo. So I lived in those other 4 Spanish-speaking countries in order to learn how to speak Spanish. También viajé, that means I traveled to. Viajé a Cuba, a la República Dominicana, a Mexico, Colombia, Uruguay, y Bolivia también. So I've been to many of the Spanish-speaking countries.
Lucky you.
Yeah. Some lucky, some not so lucky. Some were not great experiences, but yeah. Yeah, I do not recommend Bolivia.
Oh, really? Well, that's good. Yeah. I guess they can't all be good.
Yeah. You too? Where are you from? And have you ever traveled to a Spanish-speaking country?
Well, I'm from the United States, and the only Spanish-speaking country I've ever traveled to is Mexico.
Oh, great. Fantastic. Muy bien, mi experiencia profesional. Soy maestro de español desde el 2005. So I've been teaching Spanish since 2005. Later, after graduating from college, I started my own language school here in Denver and grew that up for a long time until the pandemic hit us. And I had to close it down. And so now I'm just doing everything out of my house again. ¿Y tú a qué te dedicas? What do you do for work, Sky?
I'm an architectural designer, which is the title that architects have to use until they get licensed. Okay. So that's what I'm working on that. And yeah, I went to school at CU for that. Nice,
nice. I might need your services.
Are you doing a remodel?
I've been wanting to at my house here for a long time. Not quite sure how to do it. So
nice. Yep, I'll be whatever help I can be.
Bien. So me gusta means I like. So when I'm not working, me gusta tocar la guitarra y tocar los tambores. Me gusta viajar. Me gusta ir al gimnasio. Me gusta leer. Y me gusta ver películas. Something interesting, algo interesante. Yo bailaba con un grupo profesional de salsa. I used to dance with a professional salsa group. So there's a picture of me performing way back when at the Boulder Theater.
Oh, that's awesome.
¿Y a ti qué te gusta? What do you like?
Outside of work, I like to ski. And I I guess it's almost a hobby how much I work on my house. So I do a bunch of remodeling projects on my own house. I tend to just like fix up a house I live in and then sell it and then fix up the next one. So
Nice.
I guess that makes it a hobby.
Okay, muy bien.
And that's about it.
So I use a holistic approach to Spanish. Spanish will change a little bit from one country to another in the same way. If you've ever talked to someone from England, Australia, you can communicate with each other, but there's certain vocabulary words, certainly an accent difference. So because of that, and because of my experience of living in different countries, I like to try and expose my students to all of that. Last little thing before we really get started, these are conversation classes. So that means you have to talk. That's the biggest difference with my program. And if you were to go take it at CU again, right? It's okay to make mistakes. I want you to feel comfortable and have fun with it. At the end of the day, if you're talking and you're making mistakes, it's very helpful for me because everybody I work with has kind of their own different little scenario with the Spanish language, and I need to know where you need help. And I want you to feel free to ask me as many questions as you have. Okay, so just starting with our greetings. Hola means hi. So repeat after me, hola.
Hola.
If you want to say, how are you? You say, ¿cómo estás?
¿Cómo estás?
And if you want to say, I am well, you say, estoy bien.
Estoy bien.
Muy bien. Now, let's practice that. Hola.
Hola.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy bien.
So greeting people in the Spanish-speaking world is typically done a little bit differently. So I feel like we're a very huggy culture here in the United States. We always hug our friends and family. In Spanish, it's usually done with un besito, a little kiss on the cheek. And in more formal situations, it's still going to be an apretón de manos, a handshake. So that can happen like in business situations or getting introduced to a friend of a friend for the first time. But I always tell my students, be prepared for whatever. So anything could happen in this situation. If you do get on a plane and go travel somewhere, make sure you investigate this before you get there, what the proper way to greet people, because it will change a little bit from one country to another. Muy bien. So the pronunciation is pretty simple in Spanish. We've basically got 5 sounds. Repeat after me. A.
A.
E.
E.
I.
I.
O.
O.
U.
U.
A, E, I, O, U.
A, E, I, O, U.
Muy bien. So that's basically Spanish pronunciation. If you can learn these vowel sounds, you can speak Spanish right off the bat. There are very small variations in this that we might see in the future, but for now, it's pretty straightforward. These vowels always produce the same sound. Repite. A.
A.
Nada.
Nada.
Mapa.
Mapa.
Papa.
Papa.
E.
E.
Meme.
Meme.
Leche.
Leche.
Tele.
Tele.
I.
I.
Mini.
Mini.
Bici.
Bici.
Fiji.
Fiji.
O.
O.
Loco.
Loco.
Coco.
Coco.
Ocho.
Ocho.
U.
U.
Cuckoo.
Cuckoo.
Voodoo.
Voodoo.
Guru.
Guru.
Muy bien. So if you want to introduce yourself to somebody, it would be like this. Repeat after me. Hola.
Hola.
Me llamo Sky.
Me llamo Sky.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
So there you're just saying, hi, my name is Sky. What is your name? Normally, after introducing yourself, the person's going to respond by saying, mucho gusto.
Mucho gusto.
And that's just saying, nice to meet you. It's nice to meet you. And then you could respond to that by saying, igualmente.
Igualmente.
Igualmente just means likewise. Okay. Vamos a practicar. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Sky.
Mucho gusto, Sky.
Igualmente.
Perfecto. Nice job. All right. So 3 common questions when we're introducing ourselves to new people that might arise would be, of course, where are you from? Repeat after me. ¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Muy bien. Sky, are you a Colorado native?
Yes.
You are. Wow. Okay.
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm not. I was born in Nebraska. I moved here when I was 5, so I'm not
You're
a native.
born in Nebraska. Okay, so you could say, so for this purpose, you could either say soy de Nebraska, or oftentimes if we're international, if we're talking to international people, you say the country. Soy de los Estados Unidos.
Okay.
So let's practice. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
Muy bien. The next one is, where do you live? ¿Dónde vives? Repite.
Oh, I answer? All right.
No, you repeat it. So, ¿dónde
Okay.
vives?
¿Dónde vives?
Muy bien. And where do you live, Sky?
Denver.
Okay, so vivo en Denver.
Vivo en Denver.
Muy bien. The last one is, where do you work? ¿Dónde trabajas?
¿Dónde trabajas?
And do you work in Denver as well?
No, I work in Frederick.
Okay, trabajo en Frederick.
Trabajo in Frederick.
Where is Frederick?
It's I-25 and Highway 52, just
Okay.
north of here.
So yeah, is it like just south of Longmont, kind of?
Yeah, it's a little bit south and a little bit east, like 20 minutes from Longmont.
Gotcha. Yeah,
Kind of in the middle of nowhere.
that's what I was thinking, but I couldn't remember. Muy bien. Okay, all right, let's practice. ¿De dónde eres?
Soy de los Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Denver.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Frederick.
Muy bien. ¿Te gusta la comida cubana?
Oh, I repeat?
So here you can just answer. So I'm asking you if you like Cuban food. ¿Te gusta la comida cubana?
No sé.
No,
Sí,
you've never had Cuban food?
I don't know that I've ever had Cuban food. I'll
It's
say
good.
sí, me gusta.
It's good. It's delicious. Try it when you
Okay.
can. ¿Te gusta la comida mexicana?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta la comida salvadoreña?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta la cerveza?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el vino?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta el mojito?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta el fútbol?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta el fútbol americano?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta el béisbol?
No, no me gusta.
¿Te gusta estudiar?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta cocinar?
Sí, me gusta.
Ok, más o menos.
Más o menos.
¿Te gusta bailar?
Sí, me gusta.
¿Te gusta esquiar?
Sí, me gusta.
Okay, let's talk about some important questions to help you learn Spanish. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta? Repeat after me. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Puedo hacer una pregunta.
Any idea what that means?
Can I ask a question?
You remember a lot from that high school Spanish. That's perfect. Yeah. Can I ask a question? ¿Cómo se dice student?
Estudiante.
Good. So you answered the question. The question means, how do you say student? Very good. And then what about this? Let's practice. So ask me the questions that you see here.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
Go ahead and start with this first one. ¿Puedo hacer
Okay.
una pregunta?
¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Cómo se dice computer?
Computadora.
¿Cómo se dice office?
Oficina.
¿Cómo se dice paper?
Papel.
¿Cómo se dice employee?
Empleado.
¿Cómo se dice director?
Director.
¿Cómo se dice student?
Estudiante.
¿Cómo se dice conference room?
Salón de conferencia.
¿Cómo se dice classroom?
Salón de clase. Okay, muy bien. What about this question? ¿Qué significa estudiante?
¿Qué significa estudiante? What? I don't know what that means.
Yeah.
What's the significance of a student? I don't know.
Pretty much, yeah. So this is just the opposite of como se dice, which is how do you say. This is que significa, which is what does it mean? What's the significance of it, or what is the meaning of it, right? So let's practice with these.
You want me to read this?
Ask me these
Puedo-
questions.
Okay. ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
Sí.
¿Qué significa computadora?
Significa computer.
¿Qué significa oficina?
Oficina significa office.
¿Qué significa papel?
Paper.
¿Qué significa empleado?
Employee.
¿Qué significa director?
Director.
¿Qué significa estudiante?
Student.
¿Qué significa salón de conferencia?
Conference room.
¿Qué significa salón de clase?
Classroom. Muy bien. So we've learned 3 important questions. What do these mean? ¿Puedo hacer una pregunta?
That means, can I ask a question?
¿Cómo se dice student?
How do you say student?
¿Qué significa estudiante?
What does student mean?
Perfect. Very good, Sky. Muy bien. So Cognates, this is just a little section dedicated towards building your confidence up. Out of all the languages that you could have chosen to learn, I think Spanish has got to be one of the easier ones. Not to say you don't have to work for it. It is a new language. You will have to do your part. But one of the primary reasons is because of these words that are called cognates. So cognates are essentially words that exist in various languages that are similar in sound and pronunciation and spelling, because they were essentially borrowed from another language in common, right? So our banking system as we know it actually came from the French. So our word bank was borrowed from banque. The French borrowed this from the Spanish. The Spanish word was banco, and then it originated in Italy. So the Spanish borrowed that word from banca. So the original word for bank in the world was banca, the Italian word. And as the Italians kind of spread that system of commerce all throughout Europe, the word banca changed a little bit depending on the region. So, for example, ¿qué significa actor?
What does it mean? Actor. Oh, actor.
Yeah. ¿Qué significa chocolate?
Chocolate.
¿Qué significa director?
Director.
¿Qué significa final?
Final.
¿Qué significa hotel?
Hotel.
¿Qué significa mango?
Mango.
¿Qué significa normal?
Normal.
¿Qué significa pasta?
Pasta.
¿Qué significa simple?
Simple.
Perfecto, right? So without ever having studied Spanish or from your long time ago high school Spanish classes, you know, these are words that you're just going to recognize off the bat. They're literally the same word in English. So you can kind of guess your way in many circumstances. Of course, this only applies to about 30% of the language. So, you know, the good news is right off the bat, about 30% of Spanish you should be able to at least recognize on paper.
That's a lot. I didn't realize it was that much.
Yeah, so Spanish is a direct descendant of Latin. It's about 90% based in Latin and has another like 10% influence from Arabic. English, of course, is the big mixture, but it's about 30% based in Latin. English is kind of a mutt in terms of, as we are all mutts of European descendants, right? English also is a language that was born from an old German, kind of mixed up with Latin and French and Greek, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. But yeah, right off the bat, you got about 30% of the language that are these cognates, right? Awesome. We have the same abecedario alphabet. We have the same alphabet. We also have the same numerical system. I mean, there's a lot of commonality. So, all right, let's do our numbers. Repite: 0.
0.
1.
1.
2.
2.
3.
3.
4.
4.
5.
5.
6.
6.
7.
7.
8.
8.
9.
9.
10.
10.
Muy bien, Sky. Okay, ¿de quién es el número? So I'm going to read a number. Tell me whose number it is. ¿De quién es el número 911?
What's that again?
So whose number is this? ¿De quién es el número 911?
¿De quién es el número?
So I'm asking you, whose number? That's what I'm asking you when I say de quién es el número.
Oh, I see. And so I need to say this is, and it's Domina's number.
Let's try that again. ¿De quién es el número 911?
911. Oh, 911.
So whose number is that?
Police and fire.
Yeah, the emergency, right? Okay. ¿De quién es el número 720-634-2589?
El número de the language school.
¿De quién es el número 303-218-6242?
El número de Walmart.
Muy bien. Y entonces, ¿de quién es el número 303-576-0065?
El número de Domino's Pizza.
Perfecto. Sky, ¿cuál es tu número de teléfono?
Mi número es 303 601 9. ¿Cómo se dice 9?
9.
9905.
So I got 303-601-9905.
Yeah, I got it right.
Perfecto, muy
My own
bien.
number.
Ok, apunta mi número. Mi número de teléfono es 720-634. Sorry, I'm reading this number off the page here. Let's start over again. Mi número de teléfono es 720-257-8539. So read it back to me. What is my number? You can read it in English to make sure you got it right.
Read your number in English?
Yeah.
720-257-8539.
There we go. Muy bien. All right. Muy bien. Seguimos practicando. ¿Cuánto cuesta un papel?
¿Cuánto cuesta un papel? Can I answer this? Un centavo?
Un centavo. Perfecto. ¿Cuánto cuesta un bolígrafo?
Bolígrafo, $1.
Un bolígrafo cuesta $1. Muy bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta un marcador?
Marcador cuesta $2.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de papel?
Un paquete de papel cuesta $5.
Muy bien. ¿Y cuánto cuesta un paquete de lápices?
Un paquete de lápices cuesta $6.
Muy bien. ¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de bolígrafos?
Paquete de bolígrafos cuesta $7.
¿Cuánto cuesta un paquete de marcadores?
Un paquete de marcadores cuesta $8.
¿Cuánto cuesta un libro de español?
Un libro de español cuesta $9.
¿Cuánto cuesta una pizarra?
Una pizarra cuesta $10.
Muy bien. Vamos a aprender español para la escuela y el trabajo para matar 2 pájaros de un tiro. Primero tenemos cosas. Cosas son things. Things. Repite, cosas.
Cosas.
Computadora.
Computadora.
Impresora.
Impresora.
Televisión.
Televisión.
Proyector.
Proyector.
Marcador.
Marcador.
Papel.
papel.
Ahora tenemos lugares. Repite, lugares.
Lugares.
So lugares means places. Salón de conferencia.
Salón de conferencia.
Salón de clase.
Salón de clase.
Oficina.
Oficina.
Escuela.
Escuela.
And finally, we have personas.
Personas.
People. Profesora.
Profesora.
Estudiante.
Estudiante.
Director.
Director.
Empleada.
Empleada.
Vamos a practicar. So I'm really big on vocabulary, and there's a variety of reasons for it, including my own experience in learning how to speak Spanish. Initially, it was not easy for me. I really struggled with Spanish, like terribly. I had to retake Spanish 1 like 3 or 4 times. So I speak to you from this in a very genuine place. As soon as I figured out this little trick, I started just acing it. So languages are based in words. A language is a complete system of communication, right? And it's very easy to get lost in its complexity. And most teachers and most programs teach it based off of the grammar. So they kind of stress the importance of memorizing grammar rules. However, I believe that the point of learning a language is to be able to communicate with people, and learning words will help us start to communicate with people. So at the same time, I try to simplify this process with my students. Your main focus outside of class time with me should just be towards memorizing vocabulary, right? 1 word at a time. That's how you're gonna become fluent in Spanish. Now, this didn't exist back when I was learning Spanish, so I've learned about this along the way, but have you ever used Quizlet before?
Very briefly.
Oh, this is like my favorite thing in the world. So I'm just going to show you now. This is like electronic flashcards. However, to get the maximum benefit out of this, start by looking at the side that's written in Spanish, because naturally people learn how to understand a language before they learn how to speak it. Do you have kids by chance?
Mm-mm.
No kids? Okay. I have a 5-year-old, so I've seen all of this happen like over the past 5 years, right? But
I talked to you at their party when I talked to you on Saturday.
That's right. Yeah. So I've been teaching this for a long time, but then I've witnessed this over the past 5 years. When he was about 6 months old, he could follow very basic instructions. I could tell him, this is things they tell you to do with kids, right? Like where you give them a tennis ball and tell them to take it to the other side of the room. And so he was able to do that. He couldn't say any words, but he could understand me, right? The next thing is he started speaking 1 word at a time, right? His very first word in the world was agua, because when I used to give him a bath, I would just say agua, 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 and splash the water around for him. And so sure enough, one day he repeated that, I was like, oh my God, he just said his first.
Oh, that's crazy. What an unusual first word.
Yeah. And so then from there, he started adding words. He couldn't speak in complete sentences, but he could say, leche. He actually started speaking Spanish before he started speaking English, because I always spoke Spanish with him. But
Cool.
Sure enough, he started saying leche. He started, saying a few words here and there. And that's, so it's that simple, apply that same concept to your Spanish speaking and you'll get there, right? Of course, we can do it at a much faster pace as adults. So with that long explanation, we're going to come down here to the bottom left where it says options. Can you see that?
Mm-hmm.
All right, we're going to click on that and we're going to change so we're answering with English. And we're going to start over. So now you're understanding going from Spanish to English. ¿Qué significa cosas?
Cosas significa things.
Lápiz.
Lápiz significa pen.
Okay, so it's pencil.
Pencil.
So cool. If you don't get it right, we're going to put a little star, and that's going to give us the opportunity to review it again later. By the way, another thing I love about Quizlet, if you click on the word
lápiz.
Oh, cool.
It pronounces it in perfect Spanish for you. So it's really
That's awesome.
¿Qué significa libro?
Libro significa book.
Pizarra.
Pizza? I don't know.
Everybody thinks pizza. Pizza is just pizza, actually. So that's even easier. Pizarra means whiteboard.
Oh, that's right. I saw that in the presentation.
Bolígrafo.
Pen.
Marcador.
Marker.
Papel.
Paper.
Computadora.
Computer.
Impresora.
No sé.
Printer.
Oh, printer.
Kind of sounds like an impression, like a printer leaves an impression on the paper. Televisión.
Television.
Proyector.
Projector.
Muy bien. Let's go back and study these three terms. Lápiz.
Pencil.
Pizarra.
Whiteboard.
Impresora.
Printer.
Perfect. All right. Now, after we've done all of them, we're going to flip it now to go into the production stage. So first you start by understanding, then the second stage is actually speaking. ¿Cómo se dice things?
Cosas.
Pencil.
Lápiz.
Book.
Libro.
Whiteboard.
Pizarra.
Pen.
Bolígrafo.
Marker.
Marcadora.
So just real quick, marcador. So
Marcador. Marcador.
sounds like you said marcadoro with an O on the
I
end.
did.
Okay.
So, yep.
Paper.
Papel.
Computer.
Computadora.
Printer.
I can't remember that one.
Impresora.
Impresora.
You almost had it. You almost had it.
I remembered what she said. Impression. Impresora. Okay. Televisión.
Muy bien.
Proyector.
Bien. So we've got two to study. Marker
Marcador.
and printer.
Impresora.
Good. You're quick. You have a good memory.
Thank
Okay,
you.
perfect. So yeah, I mean, that little activity that we just did is the most powerful thing that you can do, I think, to learn Spanish, right? I'm going to give you other activities and stuff, and as we continue to improve our fluidity and things, I'll add things in the future. But for now, that's the top thing that you should try and do, like 2 or 3 times a day after learning new words, right?
Okay.
So when it comes to learning vocab, if you do it in that order, it's going to help you out a lot. Also, don't do it for really long periods of time, right? Do it quick, like lightning cards, flashcards, right? Do it in really quick rounds, 5 to 10 minutes at a time, but do it a couple of times a day. So like, let's say we're going to study 10 minutes at a time, 3 times a day for a total of 30 minutes. That is so much more powerful than sitting down at once and studying for 30 minutes, even though it's the same amount of time. So,
Okay.
okay, let's go back through our complete dialogue, Sky. This is everything that we've learned how to say today to introduce yourself. Hola, me llamo David. ¿Cómo te llamas?
Me llamo Sky.
¿Cómo estás?
Estoy muy bien.
Mucho gusto.
Igualmente.
¿De dónde eres?
Soy de Estados Unidos.
¿Dónde vives?
Vivo en Denver.
¿Dónde trabajas?
Trabajo en Frederick.
¿Qué te gusta?
Me gusta. I forgot what that one means. What do I like?
What do you like? Exacto.
Me gusta esquiar.
¿Cuál es tu número de teléfono?
Mi número de I say my telephone number.
Sí.
Mi número de teléfono es 303-601-9905.
Maravilloso. Bien, Sky. So after you meet somebody, you can say, estamos en contacto.
Estamos en contacto.
Good. And so that's like saying, let's stay in touch, or we'll be in touch, right? A good response to this would be to say something like, sounds good. Me parece bien.
Me parece bien.
Perfecto. Let's put it together. Estamos en contacto, Sky.
Me parece bien.
Hasta luego.
Nos vemos.
Perfecto. So that's just like saying, see you until later. Muy bien, Sky. All right. So the first step after a class would be to focus on memorizing the vocabulary, and I can send you all this in an email. But Quizlet is great. If you actually click on this link here, it's got the entire course of vocabulary. So not just that one set that we just did, but it's got a lot more. It's got like 6 to 10 sets per lesson. And then when you finish that, I've got a digital app or a book that you can use. So you'd want to get the book and do those activities and send me the picture, or you can use the digital app, whatever you prefer, right? So doing it in this order, where you study vocabulary, going first from Spanish to English, and then from English to Spanish, and then doing the activities to practice that are in the book, you will become conversational in 3 months or less, just about guaranteed. I've worked with students that do not do